The silent darkness of deep space broke as the massive alien warship appeared near Jupiter. The ship was huge with strange lights moving across its surface. Admiral Susan Taylor of the Earth Defense Coalition watched from her own ship as the alien vessel moved closer. Humanity had spent many years getting ready for this moment since they first heard strange signals from faraway stars. Susan stood tall on the bridge of her ship, the UES Defender. Her blue uniform was neat, and her gray hair, pulled back in a tight bun. She had served in space for 30 years, but nothing prepared her for this moment. The crew around her worked fast, checking screens and sending messages. Lieutenant Kate Morrison, a young woman with short brown hair, looked up from her station. She speaks with worry in her voice. "They are not answering our messages, and I think they are getting their weapons ready." Susan nodded. She had feared this might happen. Intelligence officer Heather Williams had warned her after studying bits of alien messages caught by human listening posts. The aliens called Zoraxians saw other living beings as things to use, not friends to make. Susan looked at the main screen showing the alien ship. Its strange metal skin seemed to move, like water in sunlight. The ship was at least 3 times bigger than the largest human vessel. Before anyone could speak again, the alien ship fired. Bright blue beams shot out, hitting 3 human ships. The ships broke apart in seconds, killing over 2,000 people. "Get everyone out of the civilian stations now," Susan shouted as alarms blared around her. "Tell all ships to take defense positions." The remaining human ships moved quickly, trying to protect Earth, but they were too few and too small. The Zoraxian ship fired again, destroying a research station near one of Jupiter's moons. Susan knew they could not win this fight. "Not now, we need to fall back," she ordered. "Set course for the asteroid belt. We can regroup there," as the UES Defender turned to leave. Susan watched the alien ship move toward Mars. They came without warning, she thought. They came to take everything, far away on Mars, in a secret base built deep under the red surface. Dr. Amy Fletcher watched the battle on her screens. Her heart sank as she saw human ships destroyed one after another. The slim woman with tired eyes and messy blonde hair had not slept in days. A tall man in a lab coat rushed in. "Commander, we just got word. The alien ship destroyed the Jupiter defense fleet." "What do we do?" Amy stood up straight. "Project Nightshade is no longer just a plan," she said. "It is now our only hope." The man looked worried but nodded. The project had been secret for years. Only 7 people in the whole solar system knew what it really was. Even Admiral Taylor only knew it involved special technology found on a moon of Pluto. 15 years ago, Amy walked through a heavy door into a special room. In the center stood a perfect black cube 1 meter on each side. It gave off no light but somehow seemed darker than the darkness around it. Scientists had studied it for years, learning only small bits of its power. It came from beings that lived millions of years ago, beings far more advanced than humans. Chief Engineer Olivia Reed, a woman with dark skin and strong hands, worked on a small device near the cube. The device looked simple, but inside it held the most advanced technology humans had ever made. Amy looked at the cube, then at the battle reports coming in on screens. Around the room, the Zoraxians thought humans were weak. She allowed herself a small smile. They would learn how wrong they were. On Earth, people watched the skies in fear. News of the attack spread fast, causing panic in some places and fierce determination. In others, governments around the world called emergency meetings. The age of peace was over. Earth was at war back on the UES Defender. Susan sent a coded message to Mars. "Nightshade is our priority now." She wrote, "Whatever it takes. Protect that project as." Her ship hid among the asteroids. Susan looked at the stars. She had always loved space, its beauty, its endless possibilities. Now it held a terrible new reality. Aliens had come not to meet humans as friends, but to take everything from them. Susan spoke quietly to herself. They started this war without mercy, but they will soon learn humans have a deadly plan. In her base on Mars, Amy began the final steps to activate Project Nightshade. The cube had shown them how to make things exist partly outside normal space and time. This knowledge would be humanity's secret weapon. The first battle was lost, but the war had just begun, and humanity would not go quietly into the night. 3 weeks passed since the aliens first appeared. The situation grew worse each day. The Zoraxian fleet now had 12 big ships. They destroyed human defenses in space and landed forces on the Moon and Mars. Earth governments joined together under emergency rule. Dr. Amy Fletcher got special permission to speed up Project Nightshade. Amy stood in her underground lab on Mars. The facility was hidden deep beneath Olympus Mons, the largest mountain in the solar system. Here, the secret work continued, even as alien ships controlled the skies above. The black cube sat in the center of the lab. Its perfect surface showed no marks or seams. Scientists had learned it held technology from a civilization millions of years ahead of humans. The team managed to understand only small parts, focusing on how it could make matter exist, partly outside normal space. Chief Engineer Olivia Reed sealed the final parts of what looked like a simple probe. The device seemed basic, but inside it had the most advanced technology ever made by human hands. The prototype is ready for testing, Olivia said. Her hands were steady, but her eyes showed the pressure they all felt. 12 days without sleep had left dark circles under her eyes. Amy nodded. Send it to the coordinates, in the Kuiper Belt. Make sure the aliens can detect it. The plan was risky, but they had few options. The probe would act as bait, drawing Zoraxian attention. What the aliens could not know was that the simple-looking device contained something designed to exploit a weakness in their advanced ships. This weakness was found by studying the unique energy patterns from alien weapons. Meanwhile, Admiral Susan Taylor coordinated attacks from her hidden base in the asteroid belt. Her forces were small, but moved quickly, striking alien supply ships, then disappearing among the rocks and ice. The guerrilla tactics could not win the war, but they bought precious time. Susan looked at the latest reports. The news was grim. Zoraxians had established harvest facilities in Africa, Europe, and Asia. They took humans for study and resources. Earth burned while the remaining military forces fought desperate battles. A young pilot named Melissa Carpenter prepared for the most important mission ever given to a human. The 25-year-old woman with red hair and green eyes had been chosen for her exceptional skills. Her scout ship, painted in special black material that absorbed light instead of reflecting it, waited in a hidden dock. The ship carried the only working prototype of the Nightshade device. Susan briefed Melissa in person. This mission determines the survival of our species. No pressure, she added with a small smile. Melissa nodded. Her face showed no fear, only determination. What about the rest of the team? There is no team, Susan replied. You go alone. A larger force would be detected. Melissa accepted this without argument. She had volunteered knowing the risks. The modified scout ship had experimental phase-shifting technology that made it nearly invisible to alien sensors, but it only worked for one small vessel. Back on Earth, resistance fighters attacked alien harvest facilities when possible. The aliens had superior weapons, but humans knew the terrain. Leadership passed to local commanders as global communication networks failed. Cities lay in ruins as Zoraxians systematically destroyed human infrastructure. In the secret Mars facility, Amy received word that the bait probe had been deployed. Now they waited. The mission depended on the aliens finding the probe and bringing it aboard their ships. If they simply destroyed it from a distance, the plan would fail. The probe emitted a specific energy signature designed to look like a new human weapon, something the aliens would want to study rather than destroy. Zoraxians valued technology above all else. This was their weakness. Their curiosity about new tech might give humans the opening they needed. Olivia watched sensor readings as the probe traveled to its destination. How long until they find it? Amy looked at the data. Hard to say, could be hours, could be days. We just have to wait. The waiting was the hardest part. Every hour more humans died on Earth. The moon colony had gone silent 2 days ago, presumed destroyed. Mars surface settlements held out in some places, but alien forces advanced steadily. Melissa prepared her ship for launch. The vessel was small, built for speed and stealth rather than combat. She would carry no weapons. The Nightshade device itself was not a weapon in the traditional sense. It was something far more powerful. Susan gave final instructions to Melissa. Your job is to follow the Zoraxian ship that retrieves the probe. Stay undetected at all costs. Once they bring the probe aboard, it will create a brief window of vulnerability. You must get close enough to deploy the Nightshade device during that window. Melissa committed the details to memory, then asked the question. Everyone wondered, will this actually work? Susan looked her in the eye. It has to. On Mars, Amy monitored communications with growing tension. Then the news came through: a Zoraxian vessel had changed course, moving toward the probe location. The bait had been taken. Melissa launched her stealth ship. The journey would take hours, traveling without faster engines to avoid detection. She moved through space like a shadow, silent and patient. The stars around her showed no sign of the war that threatened to end human existence. In her hidden base, Susan prayed to God she had never believed in. The plan had so many ways to fail and only one narrow path to success. But humans had always achieved the impossible when pushed to their limits. This would be their greatest test. The Zoraxian ship located the probe. Their sensors detected human design with strange power readings. Following standard procedure, they sent a team to retrieve it for study, exactly as Amy had predicted. Melissa followed at a safe distance, her ship's systems running silent. Her heart pounded, but her hands remained steady on the controls. Everything depended on what happened next. The Zoraxian command ship Eternal Dominance detected the unusual energy from the human probe in the distant Kuiper belt. Sub-Commander Vexlar ordered a team to bring the object for study. Their scans showed primitive human engineering with a strange power source, possibly a desperate attempt at a new weapon. What the aliens failed to detect was Melissa Carpenter trailing their retrieval vessel. Her stealth ship with experimental phase-shifting technology remained invisible to alien sensors. The success of the mission depended on perfect timing and her exceptional piloting skills. Back on Mars, Amy Fletcher monitored the operation alongside communications specialist Donna Murphy, a calm woman with short gray hair and steady hands. Carpenter is in position, Donna reported. The aliens have taken the bait. When the Zoraxians brought the probe aboard their ship, it activated a carefully designed energy pulse. This pulse temporarily disrupted their quantum stabilization field, the technology aliens relied on for their faster-than-light drives and energy weapons. In the 30-second window of vulnerability, Melissa maneuvered her ship directly alongside the alien vessel and deployed the Nightshade device. The small object attached to the Zoraxian hull and began its work not as a regular weapon but as a complex infiltration system that rewrote the quantum programming of alien ship systems. Like a virus engineered specifically for Zoraxian technology, it started to spread. Melissa held her breath as the device attached to the alien hull. The ship was enormous up close, its surface shifting with strange patterns that hurt her eyes to look at directly. The Nightshade device disappeared against the hull, becoming part of the ship itself. Her sensors showed the device activating. The alien ship showed no signs of detecting the intrusion. Melissa carefully backed her ship away, keeping in the sensor shadow of a nearby asteroid. She had completed her part of the mission. Now, everything depended on the device working as designed on Mars. Amy watched the data stream from the Nightshade device. "It works," she whispered. The device was sending back information, confirming successful infiltration. The virus was integrating with alien systems remaining dormant and undetectable by their diagnostics. When the retrieval ship returned to the main Zoraxian fleet, the infected vessel passed the modified code to the flagship. Within hours, the virus had spread throughout the enemy fleet, still dormant, waiting for the signal to activate. Melissa began her journey back to the hidden base in the asteroid belt. Her part was done, but the danger remained high. Zoraxian patrols had increased throughout the system. She would need all her skill to return safely. On Earth, alien ground forces established harvesting facilities in major cities. Humans were processed for biological resources and information. Resistance fighters led by local military commanders fought desperately using guerrilla tactics, but they could not match alien technology. The invaders believed victory was certain, unaware that humans had already infected their entire fleet in the Mars facility. Amy worked to monitor the spread of the virus across the Zoraxian fleet. The process was slow, requiring patience they could barely afford. Every day more humans died. Every day Earth burned, but they could not rush this part of the plan. The virus needed to reach every ship before activation. Susan Taylor received Melissa's coded transmission, confirming mission success. The Admiral allowed herself a moment of hope. The first part of their desperate plan had worked. Now came the harder part, waiting for full infection before triggering the virus. The virus spread from ship to ship as the Zoraxians communicated and transferred data between vessels. Designed to look like regular system updates, it raised no alarms in alien security protocols. It moved through their network, becoming part of their core systems. Studied the alien technology through the data sent back by the virus. The Zoraxians were advanced beyond human understanding. In some ways, their quantum manipulation technology allowed them to alter the basic properties of matter and energy. Their ships could partially phase out of normal space, making them nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons. Yet for all their advancement, they had weaknesses. Their systems were highly interconnected, making them vulnerable to cascading failures. Their biological components could be manipulated. Their reliance on quantum stabilization could be exploited. On the 5th day after deployment, the virus reached the final ships in the Zoraxian fleet. Amy confirmed complete infection. "The system is ready," she told Susan through their secure channel. Susan faced a difficult decision. The virus was ready, but activating it too soon might alert the aliens to the threat. Waiting too long meant more human deaths. Every day they delayed, thousands more people died. Humanity needed a decisive moment to activate the virus, a time when it would cause maximum disruption to Zoraxian operations. Intelligence reports indicated the aliens planned a major attack on the remaining human strongholds in the Rocky Mountains and Andes. This would bring their fleet into close coordination, making the virus more effective. Susan made the call. "We wait for their attack formation. Then we trigger the virus." The wait was agonizing. 2 more days passed. Earth resistance. Fighters reported Zoraxian troops gathering for a major offensive. The alien fleet moved into attack formation, positioning ships for the final assault on Earth's remaining free territories. In her hidden base, Susan prepared to send the activation signal. The signal had to be sent from close range to avoid detection. A small team would need to approach the Zoraxian flagship close enough to transmit the code without being discovered. Susan knew she should send others, but leadership meant taking the hardest risks herself. She prepared a small stealth craft similar to Melissa's. She would lead this mission personally. As Susan prepared to leave, Amy contacted her from Mars. "We have a problem. Linda Bailey has disappeared." Susan froze. Linda was a senior analyst on Amy's team with full knowledge of Project Nightshade. The implications were dire. If she had been captured or worse defected, the entire plan could be compromised. "Find her," Amy said urgently, her voice tight with stress. "We cannot activate until we know what happened." Susan slammed her fist against the wall in frustration. So close to victory, and now this. She looked at the Earth on her view screen, partially obscured by Zoraxian ships. The blue planet showed ugly burn scars, where cities once stood. "What do we do now?" she asked, knowing there were no good answers. As the Nightshade virus spread silently through the Zoraxian fleet, the situation became more complicated. Linda Bailey, a senior analyst on Amy Fletcher's team, had vanished, along with critical data on the project. Intelligence soon confirmed the worst news possible. Linda had made contact with the Zoraxians. "She is giving them everything," Susan Taylor reported during a secure call from her base in the asteroid belt. "Knowledge of Nightshade activation codes. Everything." The betrayal shocked everyone who knew Linda. She had been with the project from the start, a brilliant scientist dedicated to protecting Earth. What would make her turn against her own kind? Amy and her team worked frantically to modify the virus as Linda delivered information to the aliens. The Zoraxians, now aware of the infiltration but not its full extent, began emergency scans of their systems. But the virus had been designed to hide at the quantum level, beyond conventional detection. The betrayal forced humanity to change their plans. They could no longer activate the virus remotely. The aliens would detect any such attempt and block it. Their only option was to trigger it manually from inside the Zoraxian flagship, a mission that would almost certainly mean death for whoever attempted it. Melissa Carpenter, still recovering from her previous mission, immediately volunteered. "I got the virus on their ships. I should finish the job." Susan considered the offer. The young pilot had already risked everything once, but they had few options and even fewer qualified personnel. With reluctance, she approved the mission, using salvaged Zoraxian technology and the phase-shifting capabilities developed from the Karen artifact. Susan's team created a special infiltration suit for Melissa. The suit allowed her to phase partially out of normal space, appearing as nothing more than a shadow or brief glitch in Zoraxian sensor systems. The suit was uncomfortable, making Melissa feel like her body existed in two places. At once, the sensation made her stomach turn, but she forced herself to focus on the training. The fate of humanity depended on her ability to function, despite the discomfort. While Melissa prepared, Amy discovered something troubling in the data sent back by the virus. The Zoraxians were not just harvesting humans for resources, they were studying human brains, looking for something specific. Their interest seemed focused on certain neural patterns. Amy began to understand why Linda might have betrayed them. The Zoraxians offered something humans desperately wanted: knowledge. Perhaps they convinced her that cooperation would save more lives than resistance. It was a lie. Of course, the aliens had shown no interest in coexistence. The day of the mission arrived. Melissa boarded her stealth ship, now modified with additional Zoraxian technology, salvaged from destroyed scout vessels. The ship was barely recognizable, a hybrid of human and alien tech. Its systems were unstable, but it only needed to work for one mission. Susan briefed Melissa one last time. "Once you reach the flagship, find the central processing node, plant the activation module, and get out if you can. The virus will need 30 seconds to fully activate." They both knew the "if you can" part was unlikely. The mission was effectively suicide, but humanity had run out of options. Melissa nodded, then asked the question that had been bothering her. "What about Linda? Will I have to face her?" Susan looked grim. "Intelligence suggests she will be on the flagship, possibly altered with Zoraxian implants. If you encounter her, do whatever is necessary to complete the mission." The journey to the Zoraxian flagship was tense. Melissa navigated through the alien fleet using her phase-shifting technology to avoid detection. Each time she shifted, her vision blurred and pain shot through her body. The human nervous system was not designed for existing in multiple states of reality. She reached the massive flagship. Its size dwarfed even the largest human ships. Making herself almost completely out of phase, she passed through the outer hull. The sensation was like pushing through thick mud while burning with fever. Inside the ship, she followed the schematics provided by the virus. The central processing node was located in the core, protected by multiple security systems. Her suit allowed her to bypass most of them, appearing to sensors as nothing more than a minor fluctuation. The alien architecture was disorienting. Corridors seemed to bend in impossible ways. Surfaces shifted between solid and liquid states. Gravity changed direction without warning. Melissa fought waves of nausea as she made her way deeper into the ship. She encountered few Zoraxians. The ship largely ran itself with minimal crew, a blessing for her mission. The aliens she did see were tall, with iridescent skin that changed color like oil on water. They moved with unnatural grace, their limbs bending in ways that human joints could not. After what seemed like hours, she reached the central core, a vast chamber filled with pulsing light. The processing node floated in the center, a crystalline structure that somehow existed in multiple dimensions at once. This was where the virus would activate, spreading its effects throughout the fleet days. Melissa approached the node. She sensed movement behind her. She turned and saw Linda Bailey, or what had once been Linda. Her former colleague was changed. Zoraxian implants covered half her face. Her eyes glowed with an unnatural blue light. Linda spoke, her voice distorted by the implants. "They knew you would come, Melissa. They have been waiting. The Zoraxians are not what you think. They are running from something worse. Something that has chased them across the galaxy." Melissa kept her hand on the activation module. "Did they tell you that before or after they killed millions of humans?" Linda stepped forward. "You don't understand. Cooperation is the only way to survive. They can protect us from what's coming." Melissa could see the implants pulsing, sending signals into Linda's brain. The woman she had known was gone, replaced by something that served the Zoraxians. Whatever they had promised her, it was a lie. Alien security protocols detected the intrusion. Alarms blared throughout the ship. Melissa knew she had minutes, perhaps seconds, to complete her mission. Linda lunged at her, trying to stop her from reaching the node. Melissa dodged, moving with the enhanced reflexes provided by her suit. The two women fought in the strange gravity of the core chamber, Linda enhanced by alien technology, Melissa by her phase-shifting suit. During the struggle, Melissa saw her opportunity. She pushed Linda away and lunged for the processing node. With one smooth motion, she attached the activation module to its surface. The device connected, integrating with the crystalline structure. Linda screamed as she realized what had happened. She charged at Melissa again, but it was too late. The activation sequence had begun. Within seconds, the virus would spread throughout the fleet. Melissa made the final sacrifice. Instead of trying to escape, she used her body to shield the activation module from Linda's attempts to remove it. The two women struggled as the virus activated, sending pulses of code through the alien network. In her final moments, Melissa looked up at the beautiful patterns of light spreading through the ship. The virus was working, taking control of system after system. She smiled, knowing humanity would survive. Her last transmission sent through her suit contained only 2 words: worth it. The Nightshade virus activated at once across all infected Zoraxian vessels. Instead of simply destroying the ships, it did something far more valuable. It took control. Weapons systems locked, engines shut down, and life support systems changed to settings that humans could survive in. In one moment, the powerful Zoraxian armada became the most advanced fleet humans had ever owned. On Earth, the remaining alien ground forces suddenly lost contact with their command ships. Without orders and orbital support, they found themselves fighting against humans who now controlled Zoraxian technology. The war that started with humanity near extinction ended with a complete reversal of fortune. In the asteroid belt, Susan Taylor watched in amazement as Zoraxian ships stopped their attack. Their weapons powered down and communication systems opened, sending automatic surrender signals. The plan had worked, but at terrible cost. Melissa Carpenter had given her life to save humanity. Susan sent teams to board the captured alien vessels. They found the ships largely intact, with confused Zoraxian crews unable to resist as their own technology turned against them. The human team secured vessel after vessel, claiming the advanced alien technology. For Earth, Dr. Amy Fletcher led a special team aboard the Zoraxian flagship, where they discovered the true reason for the invasion. The aliens were not just conquering for resources, they were running from something worse. The Zoraxian data archives revealed an ancient entity known only as the Void that consumed entire civilizations, leaving nothing but empty planets behind. The Zoraxians had been running for hundreds of years, conquering each civilization they found to build their forces against the coming darkness. In their pride, they never thought that one of the lesser species they attacked might defeat them. They never considered that working together might have been better than conquest. Amy studied the Zoraxian records with growing concern. The Void was not just a story. It was real, and it was coming. The Zoraxians had stayed ahead of it for centuries, but each time it got closer, their scientists estimated it would reach Earth within 50 years. Susan, now leading the unified Earth Defense Fleet with Zoraxian technology, proposed a new plan. Humanity would use their new technology not just to defend their solar system, but to prepare for the greater threat from the Void. The strange artifact from Pluto's moon took on new meaning when matched with Zoraxian records. It was a beacon, a warning left by some long-vanished civilization that had also faced the Void. The artifact contained not just technology, but a message: only species that work together have any hope of Survival in the months that followed, humanity rebuilt. Their cities rose from ruins stronger than before. With Zoraxian technology, they created new defenses around the solar system, massive stations armed with weapons that could destroy fleets, systems to detect any approach from deep space. The captured Zoraxians faced a difficult choice. Humanity could have destroyed them, taking revenge for the millions killed. Instead, Susan offered them something unexpected: partnership. Together, they would stand against the void. Many refused, unable to accept equality with what they saw as lesser beings, but some agreed, seeing the wisdom in cooperation. Amy continued to study the Black Cube artifact, working alongside Zoraxian scientists who chose alliance over extinction. Together, they made discoveries that neither species could have made alone. The cube revealed secrets about reality itself, showing how space and time could be manipulated to create weapons against the void. 1 year after the invasion, Earth had changed forever. Humanity expanded throughout the solar system, building colonies on Mars, the moons of Jupiter, and even the distant moons of Neptune. They incorporated Zoraxian technology, improving it with human creativity and innovation. Susan stood on the bridge of the flagship, now renamed Nightshade in honor of Melissa Carpenter. The massive vessel, once the pride of the Zoraxian fleet, now served as the command ship for humanity's new space force. Around it stretched the combined fleet. Human ingenuity merged with alien technology, preparing for challenges yet to come. Amy joined her on the observation deck. Together they looked out at the stars, once a place of wonder, then of terror, now of possibility. The war had nearly destroyed humanity, but it had also forced them to advance centuries in just 1 year. They still had much to learn. The void remained a distant but real threat. The alliance with some Zoraxians was fragile, but for the first time, humans looked to the future with hope rather than fear. Susan thought about Melissa and the others who gave their lives to save Earth. Their sacrifice made this new beginning possible. She would ensure their deaths were not wasted. On Earth, people celebrated the anniversary of victory. Cities glowed with light as memorials honored the fallen. A new age had begun. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe. They had faced extinction and survived stronger than before. In deep space, automated probes watched for any sign of the void. The warning system stretched far beyond Pluto, giving humanity time to prepare if it approached. This time there would be no surprise attack. Amy made a final entry in the official record of the war. The Zoraxians came without warning or mercy. They believed humans were weak and easily conquered. They learned too late that when threatened, humanity has always found a way to survive. The war they started without mercy ended with humanity victorious. But the greater lesson was clear. In the vastness of space, no species can stand alone against the darkness. Only together do we have a chance. Susan looked at the new star map showing known civilizations beyond the solar system. With their captured fleet, humans could now reach these distant worlds not as conquerors but as allies against the coming threat. The war that almost ended humanity instead made them leaders of a new alliance, as the Nightshade prepared for its first mission beyond the solar system. Susan gave the order to depart. The massive ship moved away from Earth, its engines glowing with energy humanity had never possessed before. One chapter had ended, but a new story was just beginning. The Zoraxians had ignited war without mercy, but humans had a deadly plan that changed everything, and now together they would face whatever came next. The war was over, but the greatest adventures of humanity had just begun.